Members, welcome back. Welcome back from your break. This is our second session. I know we are not doing well as far as time is concerned, but let's see what we can be in position to do as far as coverage, but also leveraging on time. Let's go straight forward to another presentation. And this presentation is going to be on cultural sensitivity and other biases in content creation. It is going to be led by Mr. Agaba. Mr. Agaba will talk about himself, then we'll take it from there. Mr. Agaba, you're most welcome.
Thank you. Sorry, I'm recovering from some cold, but I hope I'll be loud enough for everyone to listen. Are we on the same page? Yeah, we've had sessions where people are packing us with a lot of data, percentages and what. Now I want us to get away from that and come back to our creative, what do they call it? Our creative environment. So now, my name is Dennis Agaba. And I'm a writer. I'm a content creator, if you could say, but most importantly, a communication specialist. I'm a consultant in communication. Some of you have met the faces. I know I see one of my students in the writing for film classes. I saw Edwin. I was in Edwin in the class in Makerere, so I know some of the faces here, since we are in the same industry. So, I will be taking us through cultural sensitivity and other biases in content creation. Somebody might ask, who is this tiny brown boy taking us through the content creation? Others will say, what content has he created? I've tried to create content, but content is too much for me to create and finish. That is why we are here. We are content creators, and content is just too vast for us. The situation is vast, and we shall create content until we die. So I have been able to be on the team that has created content for quite a number of radio serial dramas, some popular, some not very popular. In Uganda, for those who know Rock Point 256, I remember I joined the team in 2006 and retired when we were on episode 420 something. I just got tired. You know, you write something and you reach a point and you're like, I need something new. You are artists, you know these things. I've also written quite a number of other radio serial dramas. And for those who, for film, for those who watched the Simimi show, who has watched the Simimi show, it was quite, you watched in 2015, 16, 14, 16 there. It was one of its kind because I tend to do art that is unique. I do puppetry. So I did a TV show called the Simimi Show. It was on Urban and Bukede. Around 26 episodes, but puppetry is not very cheap, so I had to take a few steps back and say, let me look for money and do more. So I continue to work with artists all over the country under the UCC, training them in writing, screenplay writing, and script writing for radio. And I've also had a chance to work outside the country, to work with same artists on developing content for radio serial dramas or TV serial dramas. I was in Sudan recently. I came back, I think, 3 weeks ago, working with the artists, developing a drama in Juba, Arabic. So I keep moving around, still working with artists to create content. So I've had a chance to work with the artists here in Uganda, outside Uganda. So I have a dimension that I'm bringing this presentation in that is good for all of us, that has a touch that goes beyond our borders here in Uganda. So, It will also be building on what Mr. Amos talked about, especially when we get to issues to do with movie makers saying, why is my movie not doing well? Why didn't my movie break the boundaries of Uganda? There are so many reasons, but I want us for today to focus on the issue of cultural sensitivities and other biases in content creation. How do you create content that breaks the boundaries from where you are, where you're seated? Now, before I start, I just want us to film out a little bit. I like using participatory approaches. I don't like people sitting and listening to me and then I go home. No. They know much more than I do, so we learn from each other. So I just want us to film out a little bit. It's an exercise, it's an activity. Now, how do I want us to film out? I'll be the one to start. The activity is very simple. I am, you put on that dash, you put your tribe, okay? It annoys me when someone, then think about that thing that people usually say or present in pieces of art or in something that really annoys you. I know those things are there. Or a comedian goes on stage and starts to talk, and when he says something, you're like, oh. Now, I just want us to film out a little bit, isn't it? Now, let me start. I am a Muchiga. But it annoys me when comedians start saying that Machiga are not polite. Yet I'm the most polite Muchiga that I know of. Eh? It annoys me. I've filmed out. Now it no longer annoys me. Unless you do it again. Okay? So let's try to film out. Feel free. Feel free. Yes.
I'm Uganda.
Uh-huh.
It annoys me so much when people say that Uganda is not bad noses.
Bad nose. Now you've filmed out. Thank you very much. Let us film out. Let us film out. Feel free. Yes?
I am Anna Choli.
Uh-huh.
It annoys me so much that in the film industry, our men only act as scary.
Thank you very much.
Presidents and MPs and everything.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Uh-huh. You want to film out?
Yeah, I mean, Uganda,
uh-huh.
You say it, eh?
Uh-huh. Let's film out. Let's film out. Even those who are from somewhere else, you can also film out. Anything. Uh-huh. We can have like 2 more. Yes, once again.
I compliment on some other things.
It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I like Masoka, but it annoys me when they say Masoka people are dumb. Yet, when I was in my senior 6 or 8, we had a Masoka literature teacher who was someone of his kind.
Very intelligent.
Too intelligent. He told me almost everything. And he said Masoka, just get down.
Uh-huh. Now, we can film, and film, but why are we filming? Now, we did that because I want you to think about the pieces of art that we create. If it can make you film like that, that is where we are getting into. Cultural sensitivity. But let's first understand. Now, those are the ones they call the stereotypes. All of Achiga are rough. All of Aganda have bad noses, big noses. All of Asoga are what? All those other things. Those are stereotypes. But when you actually get to know them, it is not true. It is actually not what? But it is made to appear as if it is true. That becomes a stereotype. Now, we are going slowly by slowly. Culture being that the ideas, customs, social behavior of a particular people or society, I want us to get to a point where we see what cultural sensitivity means. Being aware that cultural differences and similarities between people exist without assigning them value. Let's get that very clear. Without assigning them value, whether it's positive or negative, whether this is better and the other one is worse, whether this is right, whether this is wrong, right? So when you are culturally insensitive, you are assigning the value to these things. Yeah? For example, I'll use an example. Kneeling while greeting visitors. Somebody might say it is wrong. Eh? While others say it is right. Who are you to say it is wrong? To them, it is right. That's their culture. That's their what? And down there is culture is something that unites people. It is what defines you. It is your identity. The French say identity. Eh? That is your identity. Now, somebody coming and telling you that what defines you is wrong. When you look at them, what do you think? I think that person is not informed. Isn't it? So, it takes us back to cultural sensitivity. Being able not to assign value. Because this is a people and that is how they behave. That's them. You are also having your own culture. So who are you to start now saying the other ones are wrong? We are right. Are we together? Now, being open to learning about traditions and beliefs of other cultures. Now that we know that for the Bachiga, we don't kneel while greeting. That's okay. That's the Bachiga. But then if somebody kneels while greeting you, you shouldn't put them on Kalaba. No, first understand who they are, what's their culture. For them, that's valuable. And so, learning other people's traditions and beliefs also makes you culturally sensitive. Being aware of your own culture and how it has influenced you, examining your own biases and prejudices, seeking knowledge about other cultures, especially those that you encounter often. Now, as writers, I was talking to one of the colleagues here, and we were wondering why Mr. Amos was saying the films that didn't go beyond, that keep around, like you produce what keeps around Kampala, around the Luganda-speaking people. When you go to Kabale, I look for the same movie, I don't get it. Why is it not there? Is it that people don't understand it or don't do whatever? You go to Jinja, which is next here, it's not there. But it keeps from just around. What keeps it within those confines? It's because the creator did not think beyond the boundaries. Both ideally, the ideas that are within that piece of art or the film, you should make sure that these ones speak beyond your friend. If it is my friend here, and I'm writing a movie for them, that means that is going to be my market. That's where it will stop. But if I write for my friend and think about his friend, if he's watching it at home with a friend who comes from Gulu, he's like, hey, that's a nice movie. Can I also access a copy? Go and buy from the other side. He buys a copy and takes to Gulu. The Gulu people will watch it and that's a nice movie. Can we have copies? When another one is or maybe a friend of theirs has visited from outside countries, can I go with a copy? That's how your movie is going to break the boundaries of where you are. And you will find it outside countries. How? Because you thought about breaking the boundaries in the creation process. If you don't think about that, then it will keep around there. We shall see how. So, with the artists, we are trying to make sure that we move with the times. The times are changing and we are into the 21st century skills. All the creators, if you are not employing some of these skills, you will keep in the background. the 21st century skills. You research about those ones in different other areas. But for us, the creators, this is a skill that you need to create, because later on I will take you through why we need to do this. So what is the cultural competence? So every creator, every writer today, you need this skill called the cultural competence skill. Otherwise, your piece of art will be consumed by yourself. Are we together? Cultural competence is the ability of a person to effectively interact, work, and develop meaningful relationships with people of various cultural backgrounds. Bw'oba tosobola kukola n'omuntu he's coming from Karamoja, but you find it hard working with that person or even relating with that person, then there is a problem. Because in Uganda here, we shall see it later, we have over 50, how many languages? 50. UNESCO, you should.
Groups over 65.
Over 65 ethnic groups, and then languages are in 50s.
43.
Around there. Yeah? Now, if you are producing a film for Ugandans, how many cultures are you writing for? Yeah? So, if you have that in mind, definitely you will do it. I remember when we were young, we used to watch Chinese movies. But let me tell you, they were not enjoyed. Then, you can watch it and go and tell your friends at school the whole story. Jack Chan started from here. He went to up to the end. Yet we did not understand a thing. But you would retell the story. We would understand the story just watching the way the cinematography goes. So, the issue of tying us language as creators is not a big issue. A movie in Luganda can be watched in Kisoro and loved in Kisoro 100%. If they don't even understand it, but the story is what matters. Why? The story speaks to them. Your language does not matter. They will watch and they're like, these are the stories we want. They will even want, now I wish it had subtitles. They start wishing. But the beauty of the art, the piece they have given them, speaks for itself. Language does not what? So, why does it do that? Because it breaks the boundaries. The issue you are dealing with speaks to everyone, irrespective of the language that you speak. So, the cultural background can include the beliefs, the customs and behaviors of people from various groups. Gaining cultural competence is a lifelong process in increasing self-awareness, developing social skills and behaviors around diversity, and gaining the ability to advocate for others. This is a skill that all the creators need to have if you want your pieces of art to break the boundaries. So, it starts with you, the way you relate. Like they have said, it's a lifelong process. You learn along the way. You learn it along the way. You are not born with it. But being conscious that it exists. If I'm writing, I think about Uganda, I'm not thinking about my culture only. Thinking about others means I will not disrespect them. I will also include them in my story as part of the story. Then already I'm creating a market with those people. Okay? So, I will insist on that skill, but it's something you can develop along the way. It's not going to be developed. So why is there a need for cultural sensitivity in content creation? We start with the demographic shifts and an increasingly culturally diverse population. Like I said, in Uganda here, let's look at Kampala. Kampala, the physical location is in Buganda. automatically they're supposed to be speaking which language? Luganda. Okay? Fine. All of us who came here have attempted to try to learn Luganda, but we might not be 100% at speaking Luganda. But we are aware, subconsciously we know that's the language that works here. But now, when you're writing, you will put it in Luganda, fine, that's okay. But how many other cultures are you writing for or to? In Kampala here, the ones that Ebos was saying the youth are the most, they consume most. Where do they come from? Those who have the ability to buy a copy or subscribe to an online to watch your movie. It is somebody from Gulu, somebody from Lira, somebody from Moroto, somebody from Kisoro, another from Kasese, and also people here. So, all these create a diverse population that when you're creating this script of yours, you need to think about them. There is a radio drama that we did. What was the content? It's called Sotakai. Sotakai was the title. And it was broadcast mostly in different areas of Uganda, but mostly I think in the north, in English. Yes, I was the writer for that. That one is smiling. It looks like you know it. Now, we are creating this drama, but it was supposed to be a Ugandan story. Ugandan story, but has all of these tribes you have to think about as you are developing. So when we reach I usually stop at the script writing level. Now, when I reach the production, I remember I listened to the first two pilot episodes, and I'm like, this does not sound Ugandan, like we agreed. They're like, what? No. All the actors are speaking English, fine. But the accents are only Kampala accents. Then they're like, you guy, you want to take us back to recording? I'm like, yes. If you take this to Karamoja, at least nobody will say there is our person there speaking. So I'm like, can you give me an opportunity to, as you are doing, to be there as you report or casting? Now what we did, we sat down and got all the characters. Character A hails from where? From Uganda. That one will have a Uganda accent. In English, character B hails from the east. Let's get an accent from the east. Kabale, let's get an accent from Kabale. West Nile, Adruga. And even we change the names to those ones. Now, when you come to a certain maybe area in Kampala, definitely if you reach a small bar there, you are likely to hear an Adruga talking. You will hear a set historical talking. You will hear an Opio talking. They are all drinking together. Hello, my friend. Hey, you are giving me another beer. No, I'm not giving you a beer. How much have you bought? That's in Muchiga. But these are together. And it is a community in Kampala. So I'm like, do you get my point? They're like, yes. We went to record to the studio. When it came out, we pre-tested it in about 4 regions. And everybody said, this is our thing. Why? No, we have, there's a character, this one is a Muchiga. In Moroto, where we thought they were not, no, here we have Lokwang, was a character called Lokungu something. Like that one sounds like us, that is ours. So everybody was owning the story. Why? Because we became culturally sensitive. And the story was taken as a Ugandan story. So, while you are creating, do you sometimes take steps back and think about these things? And it is very rare for you to create a story in Kampala here. You have a shopkeeper who has a Luganda accent. You have all the people who buy from there have Luganda accent. If it's in English, won't you have a certain Opio who comes to buy from there sometimes and speaks, hello, my friend, I want you to give me a chegalet. So as you are doing that, you consider that in the creation, also in the casting of your films. You never know one character like this. A West Nile will say, this is our film. Why? There is a Druga there. And you will find it is selling there and you're like, yeah. Na heno na nchiwandikira Kampala na kati abantu bagitute. Fine. Why? You You considered them in the creative process. Are we together? Yes. Societies are increasingly becoming globalized. Social media has taken people by storm. I went on what is that called? TikTok. I spent there 5 minutes. I gave 5 minutes. Because for us writers, we always have our laptops. So sometimes when you take a break, you want something to just take your stress away and go back to create. So now I went on TikTok, but it was engaging me so much. I'm like, I want to see fine. But you will create or even upload your film on YouTube. There is that period, they call it what? The launch, is it called launching? What? Premiering. During the premiere, you find you have over 10,000 views. People are watching as you are premiering. But who are these ones watching? Are they from that locality that you thought would be watching when you are creating the drama? Or they are from all over the world? You have to find some are in the US, some are in UAE, others are in Kampala here. So, if you are creating for the ones around you and you are premiering on YouTube, are you only premiering for your people here? People will be from everywhere watching. So, it becomes mandatory for you to think globally. Not even Uganda here. Break the boundaries. Don't mind about the language. Uganda is good enough. Actually, is very good enough. All we are interested in is the story. The language we shall sort ourselves. We shall sort ourselves. And you are lucky you can do subtitles in English and all that. But the story is what is very important. Building on what they are doing, UNESCO, I was reading somewhere and it is promoting the creation of these films in the native languages. There's that emphasis. It is the native languages. Why? The languages are dying. Languages, I feel so bad. Find out that my daughter is not very fluent in Ruchiga. Every time I feel very bad, which is, she can only speak like 10 words. I'm like, oh, really? Why, she was born here, she's growing from here, she's in school here, but it makes me feel so bad. So, I'm trying to do what I can to make sure that she learns. Why? That means there is a Muchiga less who can't speak the language. So, developing content in the local language is encouraged. Fine. You have English, I see people are trying to learn Chinese now or whatever. Fine. But in art, the language of art is not in the letters, it is in the story. If the story is powerful enough, you will get funding from UNESCO to translate it to a language of their choice. For you, do your part. Give us a good story, and the rest is history. We've had to translate some films from English to from local languages to other English or others. Why? Because of the demand. The story is good, but we want to understand it more. So have money and put it in English. That's an additional earning for you. But if you have your story in Luganda, perfect, good. Put it in Ruchiga. People will come and say, okay, we get the whatever, we don't understand some of these words, but we want the story. What is it now? Go and do subtitles. If it's not enough, then they'll find you to put it in English. So, persistence of issues around cross-cultural contact, discrimination, and related challenges. This is very sensitive. Very sensitive, especially when it comes to art and us who create. Amos mentioned when he was giving the history of film that when these colonialists were coming, they were using films to indoctrinate the Africans. You know, I don't want to go into details on those things. But in this case, some of the films that we are also creating are also now creating other clashes here and there, intercultural clashes. Now, I don't know, I usually meet these comedians and tell them, you guys, don't you have time to create content? Why? Every time you come and say, do you have to talk about Abasoga? Hey, Mutoro. Don't you have time to create content? And you know, when these days you watch, when they start those stories, the comedian starts, that you see people now starting, that's when he goes to his phone and starts to check on WhatsApp. Why? He does not want to listen to that crap. You can see it from people who are seated. That's when they go to their phones. Hey, katomutoro, notuka kumutoro. Hey, ajakugamba. Hey. Why? They find it offensive. Others will laugh. Fine. But the person it touches, that's why I made us do the fuming exercise. That thing that is created inside you and you just want to burst. You will not say it, but there is an effect it works on you. Hey, abachiga balya nnyo. You want us to eat little? Why? Do you know how many hills we have to climb to go to school? Fetching water, you have to come from a hill 1 kilometer down and another kilometer up, with 20-liter jerrycan. And you want me to eat just one piece of potato and I'm done? I definitely have to eat a lot. So if you do not understand my point, now you are offending me. On that day, I'm giving those examples for us to understand these issues. So these issues are persistent, and when we are developing our movies, we should be very cautious because these issues have far-reaching effects. That's why Mr. Amos was saying that we tend not to let people vet our movies before we put them out there. On the last slide, I have the last bit of, I can talk about it now, pre-test. We shall call it pre-testing. Yeah? For us who don't do, we don't have a lot of money. You give it to friends, but of different, ethnicities and backgrounds, and age also. Have an old man watch it, let him tell you what he thinks. And that is free advice, by the way. I have watched your film na enyambala gye wayambala wayambaza ono karakita nga nfu. How? Abaganda basiba bwe bati boarding bagisiba bwe naye wagisiba bwoti. Why is he mentioning that? Because whoever watches it, you are abusing the Buganda culture. That's not how they put on. You are misrepresenting their culture through just a simple way of tying the boarding like this. Kumbe you're supposed to tie it like that. And you have all created works. You will watch your movie 1,000 times. There are things you will never see. But give it to somebody else, they will say, so koje. Hey, so learn to give it to your friends before. Select those ones who are genuine, who can give you genuine feedback. They will tell you these things before it gets out there. And it is very offensive for somebody to see themselves being misrepresented in a piece of art. Are we together? So the other issue is discrimination and bias in various forms are hurtful all around. Those are the stereotypes I talked about. Those are the stereotypes. The stereotypes are never true. They are made up. Si bituufu. Kato omusajja omulaba n'ennyindo agitaddeko mask. Omusajja alina akanyindo mukalabe. Naye n'ogamba nti Abaganda balina ennyindo mbi. How? You are misrepresenting us. Okiraba? So people might think that is true, but it actually is not. So these stereotypes, there's another presentation later in the afternoon. They will talk more about the stereotypes in detail. I will not go there. So, good. How do we build our cultural competence? I have gone back to that word. How do you become cultural competent? Kwegamba nti buli konna kwa creating you are being cultural sensitive. I used that to summarize quite a lot that you can do. We start from awareness. Awareness means that will to learn, the will to get informed, the will to know much more than you know within your confines. Okay? It does not hurt for you to actually uneweteka maka sente kwata bus, linya bus, go to Soroti, go to Karamoja, Moroto, know how the Karamojong live. Why? Because all that we have about Karamojong are stereotypes. They are still naked, they don't whatever. Those are the things we know. And there is even the saying of we shall never wait for yes, it was made up. But you go there and see what is happening, irrespective of the challenges and whatever. You'll be shocked. I worked there for under the UNFPA project. I was there for about 2-3 years. I was shocked. I was told people here don't dress up, but the guys are in their jeans, even embarrassed, and I'm like, hey, so it does not cost a lot. A creator, kwete kamaka sente, you go to learn. There is a script we are working on. It has taken now, this is the 3rd year. It is not yet done. Why every time we submit, they say, there is we need this version of Uganda. We've not captured this. Do you know how much money I've put in myself to go some of the places to shoot is Mugahinga in Kisoro? I went and I had been to Kisoro twice, I think, but doing other things. Community theater, going to educate people in villages and what. But this time I went specifically to learn and also see the possibility of us having those places as shooting what? Venues, location. I went, reached Kisoro, even participated in the gorilla track. I had never done that. And we stay around there, but I'd never done gorilla track. You see, we don't consume our own products. So when I reached, I was interested. I was like, let me go and see. It was another experience. I saw things and I'm like, whoop. But if you're going to search for gorillas, just going there and just look at them, go back. It's a whole lot of experience. So I didn't know all that. But when I came back and I wrote that part of the script, and they're like, now this one shows that you went on ground. Now you know what you're writing about. So I started, I'm like, okay. So every time I'm writing about something, I need kwete kamaka sente for my knowledge, just to know, awareness. Sometimes you want to write, I will give another story of a lady we worked with on Rock Point. She joined us along the way, like in 2010 there. But she was a saved girl, man. Saved. And Rock Point was basically dealing with the issues of the youth. You have to write scenes of bars, people drinking, fighting, those graphic scenes. Now, if you have never been in a bar, can you write a bar scene? Tosobora. So, nawandika scene, madam, this scene is like a church scene. Write a bar scene. This is very boring. Me, I didn't know she was saved. Then she didn't submit in time. I'm like, we have to send this episode. No. Because what sends episode to South Africa, they get reviewed, come back here. There was a back and forth. So I'm like, what's wrong? She tells, Dennis, I've never been in a bar. I'm like, hey, Bambi, you go to a bar, buy a beer, and get to know what happens in a bar, then write the scene. He's like, I can't drink. What if they see me there? I'm like, so what are you doing here? Are you a writer? Are you a creator? What is the problem? I was getting annoyed, but I had not understood her point. Then later on, when we left office, she phoned me outside. She's like, Dennis, can I please talk to you? I'm like, yes. I think I'm going to fail this job. I'm like, why? Because what you guys are writing, most of the things I've not gone through them. I'm like, okay, Evelyn, here is a job for you. You got a job, very good paying, and you are a passionate writer. I like the scenes you write of girls talking about their issues, menstruation, what. Very nice scenes. But when it comes to this, you are poor. So what you need, just switch off the issue of you getting saved. Become an artist and a creator. What you create is not a reflection of who you are. So I counseled her a little bit, and she actually went to a bar on her own, bought water, and sat there. Luckily enough, that night there was a fight. Chinawataka here. She used to stay in Chinawataka. The fight broke out. She saw it, and she was just marking everything. The next day she wrote a scene. We read it and we're like, wow! Even when did you get that? Like, that is a real story. So I'm like, how did you manage to do it? She's like, I went to the bar, I sat there, I took a bottle of water, and I managed to see all these things happen. So even the language spoken there, the diction, is not our usual, what we speak in a normal level. So she managed to pull it off. I said, now, as an artist, you get out of the shell of you and enter the shell of a writer, creator, and give people what they need. It is not a reflection of who you are. Evelyn has never been the same again. She's now one of the good writers we have for radio here. Why? She managed to do that. But I am talking about the issue of awareness. Learn. Open your mind to new things. This is the second last slide, so I'm getting to the close. Let's get to attitudes. Amos mentioned something about attitudes. What's your attitude about? No, attitudes are also shaped by the stereotypes. Sometimes when they say, I like using my example, they were chiga, very rough. So when they say they have given us a leader, where is he from? He's from Cavalry. We are dead. We are dead. No, that's a stereotype, and that means it is going to help make you develop a poor or a bad attitude towards the what? The Wachiga, thinking they are rough. I am not rough. I'm one of the most romantic and softest Muchiga. But because of the attitudes other people have about me, I miss out on certain things. Like I delayed to get married because all the girls I was approaching were almost still with, you are from Cavalry. I'm not ready for those chibokos. I'm like, why are you? I cannot beat you. Why? No, they say people from there beat. I'm like, and they kept on. One chucked me. I think they were. I married the fifth, the one who accepted. Was like the fifth. Why? Simply because I am. Her attitudes were shaped by the stereotypes about Wachiga. It does not mean that all Wachiga are bad. No, they are not rough. There might be one. Yes, fine. Just like there is also in amongst the Baganda and the Acholis, you will get one. Yeah? So you should not put it on one tribe, because that is the attitude people will have towards you. Now, as a writer, how does your attitude shape your piece of art towards these other cultural settings and setups? She said it very well in her filming. It annoys me so much when all the characters in movies about from Acholi are made to be Askaris. Why? Do you already have Askaris from Acholi? He told you we have very many big people in government. Why don't you make the president here in Acholi in your film? Yeah? You want to give them Askari. How? And that is how you, when they are vetting a film, that's how what they look for. Hey, is it speaking to everyone? Is it being particular and promoting some those stereotypes? You say somebody who becomes maybe a border guy, you want it to be Kamoga, Chitoleko. Why? Make him the pilot to fly that plane. So, as artists, we are the ones holding the key, the pen. Let me not speak about this. The pen. And our role is to also work on those stereotypes. Demystify the stereotypes. In the real way, the way it is. That is how he said one of the lecturers was the most intelligent. But they say Basoga Wazira Magazine. How? That's a stereotype. So, attitudes. Your attitude will give you a bad or a biased piece of art or script. Knowledge. Knowledge, I will not talk much about knowledge. Do not write about a topic you are not knowledgeable about. If you are not knowledgeable about it, leave it. Because you are going to give us lies. We are the ones who consume your product. He lied to us. And there's nothing like, you got on YouTube and find out Hollywood films which told lies on different things. They will give you, on this scene, you lied about this, you lied about this. They are there. Skills. The skill I talked about, like they said, it is learned over time. Eh? This is a skill, by the way. It is not that you are going to live here and start doing that. No, the more you do it, the more it becomes real in you. So, and you start being culturally sensitive, and you will have what they call a skill of cultural competence as you create. Now, as I conclude, then the afternoon session will also talk about some of these. Don't worry. But, like I said, do not write about a topic or a theme that you are not knowledgeable about. If you are not knowledgeable about it, research. Research. Ask anybody, visit. These people are always in offices, on their desks. They are very knowledgeable about these things. But we rarely visit them. They have reports. The previous presentation had over how many reports presented. You whatever presented this report. We never read those reports. And they have facts there. If anybody says, you lied in this script, show them. No, I got it from a Minister of Gender report. You go and ask them. You are free. Eh? You are not culpable. Especially if you use the researched data to write your scripts. You will not be culpable. 2, fact check. Fact check, fact check, fact check. I usually tell writers, fact check all the time. Ask. There is the content I was writing for a certain organization. It's going to be using a device called a talking book to educate women on their rights on land and what. So I remember reading in one of the reports that when you are going to obtain a certificate of customary ownership of land, the fees charged is 10,000 when the land, okay, not clear there, and then 5,000. So I didn't know the 10,000 is for what, the 5,000 is for what, and when do you pay 5,000, when do you pay 10,000? So because I didn't have time, I went ahead and wrote, but before I submitted, one heart was like, huh? But I'm not sure about these figures. What if they just pass the script and send to the producer to produce? How am I going to get out of this? I picked a phone. I called in Arua. It's a project in West Nile. So I called the lands office. I would like to talk to any surveyor there, somebody in lands register. Who are you? What do you? I asked, I want to obtain a certificate of whatever. How much do I have to prepare? Then they explained to me, you have to 10,000 for this, 5,000 for this. I'm like, oh, God. So I went and changed where I did not put it clear, and I submitted. But there, I am very confident that that phone call, which I actually recorded, will save me if at all they say, you misrepresented, you didn't give good facts. As a creator, I am safe. I will say, listen to this. I called the registrar, and this is what he said. Then you deal with the registrar. I am safe. You see how? And most times we creators want to put a heavy block on our head. Yet it's very simple to just get the block off. Just use the data. Get all these reports. Get facts from there and quote. If they say you lied here, go to that report. It is from the ministry. I didn't lie. You are safe. Good. So, language. I will go a little bit deeper on language, not just the language that you speak but the language that is culturally sensitive also. In your own culture, there is language that will be disrespectful, the language that will be insensitive, and when you use this in a piece of art, first of all, those are where the bias from the consumers comes from. I'll give a simple example. Some time ago, up to now I've not understood, I need somebody to explain to me well, but when we were at Makerere, at the Department of Music, Dance there is a drama that was being shown by, was it Bakayimbira? Sarah Jokota. You remember that drama? It was a stage play. You've heard about it. I think I'm very old. So, I did not understand the title. You know, when you even if it is a book, just grab a book like this, read the title, the mind will picture what to expect from there. So I was going to watch that play and I was like, Sarah Jokota, what does it mean? The immediate person I asked, who was next to me, that guy is called Andrew Chiega. Some of you might know him. I asked Andrew, what does this mean? Andrew, in his comedy and whatever, said, Chitegezamwe. We're like, Chitegezafe? You know what I'm talking about. I might not understand it the way you do. So that Chitegezamwe. We're like, what do you mean Chitegezafe? Okay. So the conclusion was, that is not mine. And I did not go to watch the what? You know what I'm talking about. And yet, when you get deeper into the play, it was actually something quite different. But the impression I got was a bit different, and I was like, this is not for me. Why? The language he used to explain to me created a different picture, and I'm like, I will not go there, because I was going to be abused. But when I later discovered it was actually not, it was a few other ideas handled in different ways. Are we together? So language, check the language. It will also be a reason as to why your films keep around you and your friends. Costuming and props. I already talked about the costuming. If a Mutoro is dressing up, how do they dress up culturally if you want to dress up your character like that? Do it the right way. You do it the wrong way, they will say, they will disown the character in the movie. That means that's not their what? It appears offensive to them. If a Muganda dresses in a certain way, learn how they dress. Let the dressing be that way. If it is a costume, let it be that costume. Don't misrepresent people's cultures. They will get offended. Props, the same. If it is a nkumbi, no kwate nkumbi general mu West Nile which is shaped in a certain other way, long. You have it in a drama which is set in Mukoya. There's nkumbi ngate checho chichi. Tebajimanyi kubanga ukute nkumbi jo kute no chitega mu film. But it is not the one that is used here. So you are being offensive to them a bit. The set design, same. Anything that will be offensive, please try to remove it. There is mistakes that we do, especially for continuity. You are setting here to do an office scene. Waliwo ekifaananyi kyani? Kabaka Ronald Muwenda Ssaabasajja. Here there is President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Now, this office is in Buganda setting, where they display those ones. At least I have them in my office, right? Now, you shift and say, from there they went to Arua in Yume and visited the cow's office. Now you reach the cow's office in Arua, you forgot to change the what? The Kabaka. Now they're like, in Yume, do they have... Do they have Muwenda in the what? That's a technical whatever. The Baganda will not be happy. They're like, anyway, I don't know whether they will be happy, whether they will be, I don't know. They will be happy. They will be happy. You want to cook other one. But I'm trying to show you how just a simple setting in your movie can alter the whole perception about it when it is just misrepresented. That's about the set design. Always ensure continuity issues are sorted. Characterization, I will not go back into it. All of our cholies have to be askaris. No. Change. Let them be around. Use different accents, even if it is a Luganda movie. Have a Muchiga speaking broken Luganda who is there operating a certain business or something. Kati nze zibaddawo nonaja nantawanya kati nga sibitegeera nenzija kati sebo nzimba nsaba onyambeko. Do you know how that movie will be received? They're like, that is the real Kampala now. Why? Because these people are there. Why don't you utilize them? They don't have to speak the exact 100% Luganda. Then the last one, pretest until when you are satisfied that your film is good to go out there. Have it vetted, like Amos said. Let people tell you what they think. It does not. Ruth there was my student under UCC. I was training them in script writing. But we worked on a project. I want to be very honest with you. That project has never been, that film has never been released. Why? In the vetting, serious problems came up because it was a good story that we did not be serious about. When we took it for vetting and people gave us what they think, they're like, you should reshoot this film. Now imagine, we went and spent how many weeks in Chisizi. It's a story about how they used to throw the pregnant girls over that cliff in Kisizi, those who would get pregnant. So the way I did it, I thought I was doing my best. The script was fine. But then afterwards, there is a way we mishandled it a little bit. We were not very serious. So we took it to somebody, we were like, tell us what you think about this film. They're like, you guys are having a very good story, but the way you've treated it, please go back and reshoot. I felt dizzy because I had put money. The money I had put was from my own savings, my own pocket, but we are planning now to reshoot the film. We have no choice because already they have told you this is a good product that you are spoiling. You can't release it out there. You will lose. So you have to be ready. It's business. Losses are there. But maybe it's not a loss. Maybe Kawesi will call me the next day and say, by the way, we are bringing more money so that we shoot that film. You never know. It might be a blessing in disguise. But it was a learning experience for us. We are going back to reshoot that film. It's painful, it's expensive, but the process we went through to vet it took us back. We have no choice. So don't fear those. They will always happen. As creators, like I said, the landscape is so vast. You will never create and complete every creation that there is in art. Any slight something, whatever, is an inspiration for you to create a story. But look for a story that breaks the shells of where you are, that breaks the boundaries by being culturally sensitive. The skill of cultural competence is what I wish everybody to get, whether you are a comedian, whether you are whatever, whether you are who. This skill is very important for you to have your works get out there. The rest, you will be inviting me for a cup of tea when your movie has been nominated under an Oscar what? It has won an Oscar or something. Yeah. If you follow up all those stories that have won these awards, watch them. See whether they are being written for people around, your friends around there. No. Those are themes that break the boundaries. that speak to everyone, whether in Uganda or outside or everywhere. Thank you very much. I don't know whether you have any.
Thank you very much, Dennis.
I can see an arm there.
Yeah, let's take questions on your part.
Yeah.
Please.
Thank you very much, sir. It's been really very good afterwards. I have a few areas where I would like to expound on. In most cases, there are dilemmas that you might you might come across. For example, there is where you said there is where the audiences that we create for, they do have their attitudes, and they do have their stereotype. And the moment you change that stereotype in your creation, it will appear like you didn't do research about it. For example, I'm going to throw in this example, whereby you wish to have an Askai character from northern Ghana, from that side. And again here you bring in a Uganda character to take up the gates. The Askari character. And your audience would think otherwise, that maybe this person didn't bring up research. You will feel like your stereotype maybe is not really.
Yeah, it's good.
So in such, how would you come across such a kind of a dilemma? Second, in most cases when we are creating, there are limitations that we find along the way in creation. For example, there are fictitious or fiction stories that we come to write, whereby I will do my world, I will do my culture, I'll create my own heaven, which you don't know about. And here you would think maybe Obona Yawandise, is far away from reality. And again, and yet in art, you're supposed to explore all means to be of creation, so that you don't get into any way of creation. So, how would you advise me in such kind of dilemmas, so that I keep my story relevant, I keep my competence in my writings and all that stuff? And secondly, third, you said there are certain skills that we have to include. For example, the 21st centuries. The 21st century skills that we must indicate or work on. For example, you talked about TikTok, what and all that new trending kind of platforms. There is something that bothers my thinking. You write something which is not so immoral. You write something which is not so immoral. It won't trend. I would say that. You do something which you feel like it is 100% the right thing, and people will just ignore. That was a way to see people because how would you advise a writer to create such kind of thank you. And thank you for your presentation.
Welcome. Can have one? No? Please.
musomesa wa firimu ate nga ndi musomesa ono w'omu class naye abatera okuzoogerako bakola research nnungi kati nga omukulu oli naawe mulina research nnungi naye waliwo research ze mutakola ate mu bakozi ba firimu bennyini. Mu firimu eno ebintu biba byanjawulo nnyo, totally different. Tuyina fictions nnyingi nnyo. Mukulu nakyogeddeko okola ekintu ekiri decent ekiri moral buli omu n'atakikola ki n'atakitwala n'atakitunula n'atafa nayo aba bano firimu zaabo tezinyuma n'okola omuntu half naked ate ekyo ne bakyagala nnyo ali immoral oba alwana akuba musajiyika ekyo ne bakyagala nnyo. Kati bw'otudda mu Amerika eri abakozi ba firimu batuuka nekiseera ffe tukola ssente tetukola bye mukola ki bye mulowooza mmwe nti bye biki bye bituufu n'osanga ng'abo bakola nnyo okusinga bano era ne wagwayo emiwaatwa nti waliyo firimu ezibeera commissioned nti ffe tuteeka mu ssente zino mu firimu zino ssente zituukirize ekigendererwa kiri ng'empisa nga ki baziteeka ku TV eri abantu bamanye empisa entuufu mu buwangwa bw'abaki naye mmwe zino ezammwe tetujja ziteeka mu ki ssente ate n'osanga nga zino ezaabo eziri science fiction nga ne story gye balagako mu nsi tekiriiyo ne bagamba nti ow'emyaka 2024 ate n'olaba ngayo yeesinga n'okusinga okukola. Kakati twandisabye abasomesa n'abadivisinga wabeerewo embeera nti bwe tuba tulina ekintu kye twagala okufoosinga kigendewo. Wayogedde ku bakomedian ekituufu kiri nti bw'okola komedi wo ng'ali decent n'ojja n'obuulira abantu ebintu ebituufu byennyini people will not come. Naye bw'onojja n'owalampa omusoga n'owalampa omuganda n'ogewalampa omugundi people bajja kukwatendinga bulungi. Kati eyo contradiction mu biki bye mutugamba okukola twagala mutegeere neki audience kyeyagala kiki kyennyini. For example batudde tugamba wano nti yimwe Uganda mwagala giyaga mu nnaku, Uganda mwagala kulaba tubeera mu busiisira, ffe tubonyaabonya baana tukagamba ebintu ng'ebyo. Naye ate bw'oleeta firimu abasajja balina entebe ennungi biki abantu tebagiraba era they don't even pay attention. Naye bw'oleeta firimu olina bakana oluyina akasamba olinga agamba nange mu butuufu bampisawe bati ne mulwana yayisa bati ne babeera attached. Obategera embeera eyo bw'oleeta abantu ghetto abantu balya enswera weeziri abantu bagamba yeah that's our real life ne babeera attracted. Naye ate bw'oyagala okulaga nti ebyo tebiriyo eno nze ndowooza nti mwatuyambye okutwala omulanga nti bwe tuba tulina ekifaananyi kye twagala okulaga abantu bali era still tebajja kukyagala. Nze nkoze firimu eziwera 50 nenkola ne kuz'abantu abalala eziwera 100. Ndi cinematographer nze chairperson wa cinematographers mu chapa. Kakati mutuyambe okudirectinga obulungi ekintu ekyagalibwa nti bwonoga abantu bano nti mukole firimu bweti ekituufu kiri nti bajja gikola kubanga bajja kunoonya akatale tekakola ki tekaliyo. Ne bw'onooba oyagala okuyisaawo ekintu at least mugambe nti bw'onooba okoze firimu ng'efaanana bweti tujja gisupportingako newekana abakakadde kaki kamu akasente kale emitwalo aga tibw'onoogiteeka nga erina direction bwe tujja kuteekako emitwalo aga era bajja zikola nga bw'olaba ez'abalokole. Nze nazikolako ndi musiraamu naye nazikolako ng'oteekamu n'ogamba nti wano bwe kigira bwekiti Yesu n'ayamba bw'ati. Ne bw'oba otaddemu ka statement yaka bali bakola batya bakuwayo akantu n'oteekamu kye bakola ki kye baagala. Kati tubadde mu festival nga tubagamba ebya wildlife okugiteekamu tourism naye on what base nteekamu ntya tourism mu gundi yange nga simanyi gye ngenda kujja ssente mu ndaga Uganda nnungi nnyo ina amahoteri amalungi ogenda mu hoteri bakusaba ssente nnyingi nnyo nze napangisaako ekitanda emitwalo aga 2 nga tekimakinga na sense. Kati nti bwe tuba twagala okulaga ekintu mutuyamba okutuusa eddoboozi nti bw'oba oyagala ekintu exactly propaganda atambule musasulire mweno industry abantu bajja kikola wakiri to some percentage. Webale nnyo webale ddala.
Oh, ha. Ho, ho, ho. Kati olaba akasente bekatutuusizza. So now, omu. Geri tumuweka.
Mbalamusiza nange. Ensonga ekizibu kye tulina ekijjamu ebyo byolaba nti oluusi tebituukira props designing biki. Ebiseera ebisinga story eyinza okubeera nga nnungi nnyo era nga ebagamba story nga nnungi. N'otuuka ku ground n'olowooza nti location oyinza ogifuna. Katugeze oyagala ssabo. N'okomekeza nga tolifunye ng'olina zimbe. Ogenda okomekereza odizimba nga toli musamize nti emmandwa zikubeerako, simanyi ono abeera wano, simanyi wano abeerawo effumu bweriti lino bweriti. Ky'osobodde okufuna ekyo ky'osobodde okukola. Omusamize omulungi n'agamba kandi eyo si ssabo. Naye ng'ate n'ayagadde essabo teyalimpadde. Ontegedde? Kati ekizibu ekyo nga bw'agambye tutunuleko ne wansi. Nze nali nsaba senga gavumenti etuyamba ne tusomesa firimu mu bantu as in marketing nga tusomesa firimu ku bantu abakonsuminga. Mbadde nze nkisaba nakyo mutuwagireko ntusomesa abantu lwaki balina okulaba firimu zaffe, lwaki abantu balina otuyamba ku locations ng'ezo. Props zino nyinza okuba sirina ffumu naye nina firimu egi erimu abayizi nene nnoonya effumu eriyiga nga n'okuba sikola ki sirimanyi. Of course nkoze knowledge ntegedde nti omuyizi ayisa ki ffumu. Neŋŋenda nemmanyi attitude gye nnina njagala kulaga muyizi. Neŋŋenda mbiwandiise aweya n'ensingi manyi ono boonooyiga oba n'embwa simanyi you get it. Naye nentuuka nga firimu egenda okutuuka bweti. Mbutuufu ng'embwa gye nnina sate si yenjizi nina German Shepherd. Muntegeera ekintu ekyo. Kati ebyo nonna kyekibireeta sente. Twagala okuzanya tulina attitude but also wano badde nsaba okateekeko after skills oteekeko funds. Nakyo kyongereko nti banne kola nnyo okole sente nga tonafulumya ki firimu. Ojja fulumya firimu nga ya $8,000,000 ng'olinawo kamu kitundu. Kati fuba nnyo okole onoonye sente eziteeta sitole yo okola ki okuvaayo. Kembadde nsaba sebo senga nako okwongerako ku saaka eno. Webale nnyo ssebo.
Webale nnyo. Starting with that one, mine was specifically on creative, and I thought Amos and the other colleagues would handle the issues of management and what. Mine was on creative, but funds, very important. And they actually drive the biggest part of the production, you know. Location, can you handle? The props, can you get the right ones? If you don't have, you are supposed to actually make them. In Hollywood, they make afresh. They will build the whole city here. Whether green screen or live, that depends on how much money you have. Now, how they told, we are starting, we are a young factory industry here. Okay? I was telling my students that where we are right now, you determine your budget from the script you write. Script gy'owandiika yegenda kuwa budget, whether it is affordable or not. Sometimes we write like big budget films when we can actually not have the funds, and we end up compromising on quality and giving people what actually the script is not saying. Kati bw'ogamba essabo kati gwe n'oteekako ffumu abiri, it is under some n'obuzaabuza batakola banagamba alimbye. In your budget you would have gone for something that is affordable or that is available. So it all starts from the script. But you're very right. Actually, we need support, especially on the funds, to do this. But let's start with the scripts. The script you write, bw'ogiwandiika nga ya $5,000,000, osobola kufuna 5. Really? Onaatuwa movie efaanagana etya? You want to shoot from Sheraton. Sheraton, they will let you book for 2 days to do one scene, and they will charge you for that. So are you going to spend 5 million on the 2 days at Sheraton? What about other locations? So let's think that level until when we have grown and we can do what? Have those ones. But you are very right. We need a budget that can enable us to do some of these things, which will show. It won't hide in the film. We shall see it. Okay? Then I get back to him on the issue of the stereotypes. Yes, people will laugh. Those who are not what? At all. But UNESCO is here to ensure that issues of culture stay issues of what? Of culture. Because like I said, they have far-reaching effects. You can laugh inside the comedy room like this. But to tell you the truth, a civil war will break out, or a cultural war will break out because of what you say. Weeks after, and you're like, hey, we have a problem now around Chisoro there. You know what is happening there? If you are reading, well, read about what is happening between the Congolese of Rwandese origin and the Congolese of Congolese. You read about what is happening. Simple things of saying, and it is being created by just certain stereotypes. And people are cutting each other down there.
When he talked about the Muslims, he talked about the Muslims.
Hey.
Yeah.
What happened?
They were against him.
They can even get you and along the one hurt you. So what I'm saying is, even I will also merge it with the issue of I will name it indecency in the film industry. How do the characters dress? What do they do? What acts do they do, especially even in these music videos and whatever? It is what is selling, right? Somebody getting naked, walking, fine. It is what is selling. But do you know that the government has programs, first of all, to reduce the incidence of HIV prevalence? Do you know what is causing all this? The percentages to go high. You might not relate, but these are some of the things that are causing it. After you've watched that scene, what happens? We men, we know ourselves. And what happens there? Because of your very short 5 second scene, somebody has contracted HIV after. We never think about these things, but they happen. Now, when you get back to the economics of the film industry, you are writing for people so that you earn. But your art is killing the people you're supposed to earn from. In the future, are you going to have anybody to buy your films? Because you think that having sex on screen sells your film. Now, you are going to lead to the infection of how many people are accountable. Now, your audience, which is supposed to be consuming the film, is being killed by your very film. You will never see this. We never think about this. So, why are we coming in at this point? We are coming in to say, yes, let's create these films. But let's look at it as a long industry. It is going to be here forever. We shall consume. Let it. These people who make waraji, kasese, they distill kasese. Some of them add methanol. This is the waraji that kills people. There is a time when it made them blind. Now, if you have your clientele in a bar, you supply them with waraji that is adulterated. How do people call you? You have your people, they drink from your bar every day. You earn money from them, but now you've brought them alcohol that will kill them. What name can they give you? So, we are not coming in to say twagala tubere moralistic bwe tuti. But we are trying to save the industry because we know you need the people to earn from the movie. But if you kill them through your movie, what happens? So you can still deal with the same differently. I am sure there are movies which have depicted sex scenes and you do not see pornography on screen. And they there. You depict a sex scene and we know that this is a sex scene, but there is no pornography. Do you get my point? Eh? I can write that scene. And nobody will say, but I am safe without making the character undress in front of the what? The film. I can do the same thing. Now, on the same issue, the stories that we have, like I said, it's a vast ground for us to create. Yeah? That's why even when I was talking about comedians, I said, don't they have time to create material? You can create material. I have never seen this guy here. This Pablo does not usually talk about Machiga or whatever. He used to, but I think he has come to unlearn it. And he tells stories which are not vulgar, not what, but people laugh. Same on comedy, so I see people there telling stories not related to any of Batoro, Banyankole, but what, but people are laughing. It is up to us. What do we choose? Now, lastly, on that issue is art is a reflection of society. That's one. Art can make or break society. As an artist, what's your stand? If you want to break society, that's your stand, fine. Then do your things, you will make the money, but I wonder whether you will live to enjoy the money. Eh? Art makes society. Do you want to use your art to make society? The movies, whether the shorts or the features that have won the awards around, just watch the stories. What are the themes? What are they talking about and how are they handled? You will come to let me know. So somebody also talked about fiction, creating your own world. That is one way of avoiding some of these things. Eh? Creating your own world. I don't know how people, you've watched movies like Avatar. No, I mean, it's different world. It is not from here. Eh? The artist takes you into his own world and you think with him, enjoy with him, and that's it. Eh? So he avoids issues. Still, the issue of culture, of course, comes in because the world you've taken them does not concern them. So you are safe. I am not thinking about who I am I now start thinking who you want me to think because you have taken me in your old world. So it is one approach that the artists, the creators use to avoid some of this, and it is very, very effective because all the stories, especially in Hollywood, that an artist shifts you from this world that we know, where we have is, was, does and don'ts, and takes you to his own world, will do whatever they want with you, and you will not complain because that's their world. So please feel free to take us somewhere, do with us what we want, we shall come back to our world. That's a very good way of approaching some of these things. But if you are dealing with life stories that concern people, this is where these things apply. Issues to do with making sure that we do not create clashes between us because of the art that we do. Some things like this, our teacher is saying, the challenge we have is we are a young industry and we are struggling to earn, which is the biggest issue here. I have done some films, but if you ask me how much I made from them, I actually don't know. I don't even know whether I earned, but I spent. I spent. I don't know. Why? How are you assured that you will earn back? So that's what we are fighting for. But the trends, like we saw here, the changing trends tend to want to dictate what the artists create. Now, we tend to want to create for the market. Kino kyekiseeringa naffe katukole ki? Katukole. Other than us creating and we get market for our what? Our products. It's a challenge because if you don't have money, it is hard to do the other way around. Like the story you're talking about, whatever you are thinking about, I know you are asking who will buy this? Who will buy this? And if it is a good product, they will buy it. Though, of course, there are challenges here. You will suffer because to earn, you will have to go through a lot. So that's why we tend to want to which is saying that it is true, and most artists are being forced into that road, which is not supposed the natural road of creation of art. So we can always keep talking about these things and sharing to find out how can we do this better. We don't have solutions for some of this, and that is why we are having forums like this for us to talk and get solutions. What else have I not talked about? Your advice as a writer? Yeah, that's basically what I'm saying. As a writer, first of all, have a stand. Have a stand. Do you want to make society or break it? You can make it by only entertainment, creating entertainment. Serious things, but very entertaining. Not even educative. You don't have to educate. Who says every movie has to educate? No. You don't have to educate. You didn't sign with anybody that you have to educate in every movie. No. Create something that will make me dodge a lecture. I will buy it. I will give you all the money I want. We used to watch Prison Break. What were we learning in Prison Break? People breaking out of the prison. And we never used to go to class. It was total nonsense. People planning to get out of prison. I don't even know whether I've ever been in prison to learn to. But we used to dodge lectures watching that thing. It was total bullshit, you can say. But it was very captivating, very entertaining. Take us to that world. We shall go with you. But have a stand. Know that any piece of work you're going to create, as long as it breaks the shells, it is worth it. And people will watch it. The YouTube views will grow themselves. You don't even have to market. So I know we can have other interfaces on this. We can always talk, whether here or not, but I'm quite cognizant of the fact that the time has gone to 2:30. We haven't had lunch. Back to you, Mr. Kawes.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's an indication that they've liked your content. Please also make your content be liked. Don't make it immoral. Don't think we're all feeding on. Again, when we talk more kindly, I would like to invite you for lunch. Hi, where are you? We should be having cards here. Let's go for lunch. Let's put in some paper. Okay? Hi. So pass here.